All right, so you're gearing up for a liquor grinding mill operator interview.
Hmm.
And it sounds pretty niche, right?
Yeah,
But trust me, this deep dive is going to be way more fascinating than you might think.
it is.
We're talking about the heart of chocolate making,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to use RoleCatcher's resources to get you ready to really impress.
Absolutely.
So,
That's what we're here for.
what does a liquor grinding mill operator actually do?
Yeah.
RoleCatcher's career guide mentions these grinding stones and this thing called nib consistency.
Yeah.
What is the deal with those?
So you have these massive grinding stones that crush roasted cocoa nibs.
Okay.
And those are the bits of cocoa bean after the shell is removed.
Okay.
And the operator's job is to make sure those stones are working perfectly to achieve the exact consistency for the liquid chocolate, also known as cocoa liquor.
Right.
And it's a very delicate balance of temperature, pressure, and timing.
So it's like being a chocolate alchemist.
Yes.
But, okay, let's get down to the actual interview itself. RoleCatcher's interview guide has 9 key questions they anticipate you'll be asked. Let's tackle the first one. What experience do you have operating liquor grinding mills?
Right.
What if you don't have direct experience with that specific machine?
So that's where transferable skills come in.
Okay.
You want to think about any experience you have with industrial machinery,
Yeah.
especially in food processing.
Okay.
Have you worked with grinders or mixers or anything that requires those precise adjustments and attention to detail?
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't chocolate related, those skills are valuable.
Okay, so instead of saying, I've never worked with a liquor grinding mill,
Right.
you could say, well, my experience has been with industrial grinders in a different food processing setting.
Exactly.
My focus on maintaining precise adjustments and understanding machine mechanics is directly applicable to this role.
Yeah, you're showing them you understand the core principles and that you can adapt quickly. Be prepared for follow-up questions, like, tell me about a time you had to troubleshoot a problem with a machine. Or how do you ensure consistent quality in your work?
All right, on to question 2. How do you ensure that the liquor grinding mill runs smoothly and efficiently? What are they really looking for here?
They want to see your proactive approach to maintenance and problem solving.
Okay.
Don't just say, I follow the manual.
Right.
Talk about how you would inspect the grinding stones for wear and tear, monitor temperature gauges, and conduct routine cleaning.
Okay.
Mention your understanding of the machine's components and your ability to kind of anticipate potential issues.
So something like, I am meticulous about preventative maintenance. I'd regularly check the grinding stones for wear, lubricate moving parts, and monitor the temperature gauges to prevent overheating.
Perfect.
Okay.
That shows you're not just an operator. You're someone who takes ownership and cares about keeping things running smoothly. They might follow up by asking you about your experience with specific maintenance tasks.
Yeah.
Like adjusting grinding stones or troubleshooting those minor malfunctions.
Okay. Let's move on to question 3. How do you troubleshoot problems with a liquor grinding mill? Now things are getting interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where you want to demonstrate those analytical thinking skills.
Okay.
So describe a systematic approach to troubleshooting.
Yeah.
Start with identifying the symptoms, then isolate potential causes,
Okay.
and finally explain how you'd implement a solution.
So instead of panicking, I could say,
Right.
first I'd assess the situation. Is it a mechanical issue, an electrical issue, or something else? Then I'd consult the equipment manual and use my knowledge of the machine to try to isolate the problem.
Right.
If I couldn't resolve it, I'd escalate it to the maintenance team.
Exactly. It shows that you can think critically and take initiative. They might ask about a specific problem you've encountered in the past.
And how you diagnosed and resolved it.
Yeah.
So have an example ready.
Okay. Question 4 is all about safety. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others while operating the liquor grinding mill? This is super important.
Absolutely. Safety is paramount in any industrial environment. You want to demonstrate your commitment to following those safety protocols and creating a safe work environment for everyone. Go beyond just listing the rules.
Okay.
Give specific examples of how you implement them in practice.
So instead of just saying, I wear safety goggles,
Right.
you could say something like, before starting the machine, I always double check that all safety guards are in place and functioning correctly. I also make sure the work area is clear of obstructions and that everyone nearby is aware that the machine is about to start.
Great. You've shown you understand and prioritize safety procedures.
Mm-hmm.
They might ask about specific safety challenges you faced and how you address them.
Okay.
Be prepared to share a story that highlights your proactive approach to safety. Question 5 focuses on productivity. How do you ensure that the liquor grinding mill meets production targets?
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
So here, it's not just about speed. It's about efficiency and understanding the workflow.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see that you can optimize output without sacrificing quality.
So I could mention things like planning my work in advance, prioritizing tasks, and regularly monitoring the machine's performance to make adjustments as needed.
Exactly. You're showing that you're proactive, organized, and results-oriented.
Okay.
Be prepared for follow-up questions about your experience with production monitoring tools, techniques for optimizing workflow, or specific situations where you had to adapt to meet deadlines.
Okay. Question 6 dives into quality control.
Hmm.
How do you ensure that the liquor grinding mill produces consistent quality?
Right.
Yeah.
This is about demonstrating your understanding of quality standards and your attention to detail.
Okay.
Show them that you can identify and correct any deviations from those standards.
So I could talk about meticulously following procedures, paying close attention to factors like grinding time temperature and nib consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And I could mention regularly sampling the liquid chocolate to compare it against those quality benchmarks.
Perfect.
Oh.
You've shown your commitment to quality control.
Mm-hmm.
They might follow up by asking about specific quality control procedures. You've implemented tools you've used to measure quality or instances where you had to make those critical decisions to ensure consistent output.
Question 7 moves into the regulatory landscape.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that the liquor grinding mill operates within regulatory guidelines?
So this is where you show your knowledge of industry regulations and your commitment to compliance. Highlight your ability to keep up with those evolving standards.
So I could mention staying informed about safety, food processing, and environmental regulations, and making sure our operating procedures are always compliant.
Mm-hmm.
And I could talk about how I'd communicate any changes or updates to the team and implement necessary adjustments.
Great. You've demonstrated that you are on top of those regulatory matters.
Okay.
They might ask about specific regulations you're familiar with, how you stay updated on changes, or how you've handled situations where compliance was a challenge.
Okay, question 8 gets into documentation. How do you maintain accurate records of equipment operation and maintenance?
Yeah.
Here, they're looking for your organizational skills and attention to detail.
Okay.
Emphasize your understanding of why proper documentation is essential in this setting.
So I could talk about how I diligently maintain all those required logs, both physical and digital, detailing the machine's operating parameters, maintenance activities, and any incidents.
Right.
And I could mention using standardized formats and backing up digital records regularly.
That's an excellent way to show them that you understand the importance of accurate documentation.
Okay.
And that you're organized in your approach.
Mm-hmm.
They might ask about specific record-keeping software you've used, how you ensure data integrity.
Or situations where detailed records helped you solve a problem.
Finally, question 9. How do you communicate with other team members to ensure efficient operation of the liquor grinding mill? This one's all about teamwork.
Right. Showcase your communication skills and ability to collaborate effectively. Highlight how clear communication contributes to a smoothly running operation.
I could talk about my belief in open communication, keeping everyone informed about the mill's status, upcoming maintenance, and any potential issues. I'd also mention being a good listener and working collaboratively to find solutions to problems.
That's a great way to showcase your team-oriented approach.
Okay.
They might follow up by asking about specific communication challenges you've faced, how you've resolved conflicts, or examples of how effective communication led to a positive outcome.
Wow, we just zipped through all 9 questions.
Yeah.
That was a lot of information.
It was.
But I already feel much more prepared for this interview.
Good.
What's great is that RoleCatcher also provides some really helpful career insights that I think we should cover next.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, so we've covered those 9 key questions. Feels like we really cracked the code on what interviewers are looking for, right?
Yeah.
But RoleCatcher doesn't stop there. Their career guide also maps out some potential career paths for someone in this role, which I think is super valuable for you as you're thinking long term.
Absolutely. It's not just about getting the job, it's about understanding where you can go from there.
Right.
And what's fascinating is that this role, while specialized, can actually lead to some really diverse opportunities within the chocolate world.
Okay, spill the beans.
Yeah.
What kind of growth are we talking about here?
So with experience and continuous learning, you could definitely move into supervisory roles,
Okay.
like leading a team of operators.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe you find you have a knack for quality control,
Yeah.
ensuring those batches of liquid chocolate are absolutely perfect.
So you could go the management route or become a chocolate quality guru.
Exactly.
And there are even more specialized paths.
Okay.
With additional training or certifications,
Yeah.
you could get into research and development.
No.
I think creating those innovative new chocolate flavors
Mm-hmm.
or working on ways to make the production process even more efficient.
Wow, that's like being on the cutting edge of chocolate technology.
Yeah.
It really highlights how this role can be like a springboard to a fulfilling career in the industry.
It is. And speaking of getting that edge,
Yeah.
RoleCatcher has this amazing AI toolkit that can really help you fine-tune your approach for this specific interview.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How does AI come into play here?
So they have this CV resume builder
Yeah.
that's pretty slick. Their AI analyzes the job description you're targeting
Mm-hmm.
and suggests keywords and phrases that are going to resonate with the hiring manager. So it's not just about listing your skills, it's about presenting them in a way that aligns perfectly with what the employer is looking for.
Exactly. It's like having an insider's guide to crafting that perfect resume for that specific job.
Wow.
And they've also got this AI-powered interview practice tool.
Oh, wow.
That's a total game changer.
Oh, hold on. It can help you practice for the interview
So
itself.
yeah, you answer practice questions, record your responses, and then their AI analyzes your delivery word choice,
Oh, my God.
even your tone of voice.
It's like having a virtual interview coach,
It is.
but way less intimidating.
Yes.
I can see how that would be super helpful for building confidence.
And it's not just generic feedback.
Okay.
It's tailored to the specific job you're applying for,
Wow.
using insights from RoleCatcher's database of interview questions and successful responses.
That's seriously cool. It takes all the guesswork out of interview prep.
Right, you're not just practicing, you're practicing smart.
Yes.
And speaking of being smart,
Okay.
RoleCatcher's analysis of this job highlights some core skills that are really important to emphasize during your interview.
All right, let's dive into those.
Yeah.
I'm all about gaining that competitive edge.
Okay, so one of the big ones is operations monitoring.
Okay.
That's all about keeping a close eye on those gauges, dials, and indicators to make sure the machine is running smoothly.
Right.
They're looking for someone who's attentive and proactive.
That makes sense. You need to be able to spot those potential problems before they become major issues.
Exactly. Then there's operation and control.
Okay.
Basically knowing how to run the equipment safely and efficiently
Right.
to produce that perfect liquid chocolate.
It's more than just pressing buttons.
Right.
You need to understand how everything works together.
Right. And then there's mechanical knowledge.
Okay.
You need that basic understanding of the machine's mechanics so you can handle routine maintenance and troubleshoot those minor problems.
Yeah.
Even though there's a dedicated maintenance team, being able to handle some things yourself shows initiative.
It's like being a chocolate engineer.
Yeah.
What other skills did they highlight?
They also emphasize production and processing knowledge.
Okay.
This means understanding that whole journey from raw cocoa beans to that finished liquid gold.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It shows you're not just focused on your little piece of the puzzle. You see the bigger picture of how it all fits together.
Right now, the question is, how do you actually demonstrate these skills in your interview answers?
Yeah, it's one thing to know the skills, but how do you make them come alive for the interviewer? I think that's what we should tackle next. Okay, so we've talked about those key skills for this role, but how do you actually showcase them in your interview? It's easy to say, I'm good at operations monitoring,
Right.
but how do you bring that to life for the interviewer?
It's all about weaving specific examples into your answers.
Okay.
Let's say they ask about your experience with quality control. Instead of just saying, you're detail-oriented, you could say, in my previous role, I noticed a slight temperature fluctuation during the grinding process. I immediately checked the gauges, identified the issue, and adjusted the settings to ensure the liquid chocolate maintained the correct consistency.
That's a great example.
Right.
You're not just telling them you have the skill, you're showing them how you've applied it in a real-world situation.
Exactly. Or let's say they ask about your experience with troubleshooting.
Yeah.
You could talk about a time when you heard an unusual noise coming from the machine.
Okay.
You could explain how you systematically investigated the issue, isolated the problem, and implemented a solution, preventing a potential breakdown.
That demonstrates problem-solving skills and mechanical knowledge all in one example.
Right, and when they ask about teamwork,
Yeah.
don't just say you're a team player.
Right.
Give them a specific example of how you collaborated with colleagues to achieve a shared goal.
Like maybe you noticed a potential safety hazard
Right.
and immediately communicated it to your team,
Yep.
leading to a safer work environment for everyone.
Exactly. It's all about showing, not telling.
Yeah.
And remember, you can pull examples from your previous roles, even if they weren't directly related to chocolate manufacturing.
Okay.
As long as the skills are transferable,
Mm-hmm.
the examples are relevant.
This is super helpful.
Yeah.
It's like having a secret weapon for the interview.
Yeah.
And speaking of secret weapons, RoleCatcher's Career Guide also had some really interesting insights about staying ahead of the curve in this industry.
Right. They emphasize the importance of continuous learning.
Yeah.
The chocolate industry is constantly evolving with new technologies, sustainability practices, and consumer trends emerging all the time.
So how can you stay on top of things and show the interviewer you're passionate about this field?
There's so many resources available. You can subscribe to industry publications and blogs, follow relevant companies and organizations on social media, and even attend webinars or conferences, even virtual ones.
Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
It shows you're proactive and genuinely interested in the world of chocolate beyond just getting the job.
And it gives you talking points.
Yes.
Imagine they ask, what are some current trends in cocoa processing?
Right.
You'll be ready with insightful answers based on your research.
Okay, one last thing I wanted to touch on.
Sure.
Career goals.
Okay.
We talked about potential growth paths, but how do you bring that up in the interview without sounding like you're already planning your exit strategy?
It's all about framing it in a way that benefits the company.
Okay.
When they ask about your future aspirations, connect your goals to their mission or highlight specific areas where you'd like to contribute your expertise.
So instead of just saying, I want to be a manager,
Right.
I could say something like, I'm really excited about this company's commitment to sustainable cocoa sourcing, and I'd love to eventually use my expertise in liquor grinding to contribute to those efforts in a leadership role.
Perfect. You've shown them you're ambitious, but also that your ambition aligns with their values and goals.
Wow, this deep dive has been incredibly insightful. We've explored the ins and outs of the liquor grinding mill operator role, dissected those 9 key interview questions,
Yes.
and even gained some valuable career insights to help you stand out from the crowd.
You are armed with the knowledge, the strategies, and even the AI tools to make a lasting impression. You're not just prepared, you're ready to rock this interview.
And remember, even beyond this interview, continuous learning is key in this industry.
Absolutely.
Stay curious, stay engaged, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the one creating the next groundbreaking chocolate innovation that takes the world by storm.